Good afternoon and welcome to Nora's Dog Training Company. We're here this afternoon with Chloe and Brandy, and what we're going to be demonstrating for you today on video is your girl's ability to understand and respond to her formal on-leash obedience commands, the correction and the motivation that we give the dogs when we're working with them, and the training equipment that we're using. Brandy is using a regular 6-foot web training leash, and she keeps the bulk of that leash folded neatly in her right hand. That leaves her left hand free to give any correction that's needed. We're using your training collars, and the only correction that we give is a little tug and release on the training collar, and that is, of course, the second piece of equipment that we're using. Now, Chloe is sitting very nicely at Brandy's left, which is where all of our obedience training is done, and the first exercise that we're going to demonstrate for you is heeling. Heeling is proper leash walking, and the command is Chloe heel. Now at this point in your heel command, it is a position as well as an exercise. So her job is to keep her shoulders next to your left leg when you're walking with her, not forging ahead or lagging behind or dragging you down the street. And each time that you stop your feet, she has been taught to sit automatically without being told to wait for her next command. So when you're walking, and if you see her looking at the ground or starting to drop her head, you give that little tug and release, you tell her no, heel, and you get her back focused on you. And that's the main thing, that she's more focused on you than everything that's going on around her. Now the next command that we're going to demonstrate is the sit stay. The stay is a hand and a voice command, and because it is a stationary exercise, we do not use their name. This is a great exercise for working with adolescent dogs because it teaches them focus and self-control, which for young golden retrievers is non-existent for the most part. When Brandy returns back to her, she walks counterclockwise all the way back around to her shoulders where they started. Brandy stops there and Chloe waits for her next command, and they're going to take off heeling again. And your heel command with these strong young dogs is one that you're probably going to use the most often because it makes leash walking so much more pleasant. Don't allow her to drop her head on a walk. Brandy's going to leave her in another sit stay, and you can practice your sit stays indoors as well as outdoors because you want the dogs to know that they have to behave no matter where they are. Outside with the distraction, birds, squirrels, and inside, without distraction for good behavior. This time, instead of returning back to her, Brandy is going to use her name. She's going to lighten her tone. She calls her in, and she's been taught to come and sit. So we always want 4 on the floor with both of these kids so that they're not jumping and knocking someone over or scratching someone's skin. They don't have a mean bone in their body, so they would never deliberately hurt anyone. Good job, and you see her looking up at Brandy. That's great eye contact. Now Brandy's going to call her again, and you're going to start out with your sit stays about 30 seconds to 1 minute and work all the way up to 3 minutes. And she has her return back to heel and back sitting. Now they're going to heel out of that, and we're going to demonstrate your down commands. These guys are very smart. Very eager to please, a lot of fun. The first command is the down from a heel position. So with the dog seated at your left, you use your left open palm straight down toward the ground. We do discourage sniffing. And unfortunately, after all of these storms that we've had, we have a ton of little twigs and sticks that she's eating off the ground. But she is holding the stay, so I really can't complain. Practice this indoors right in your living room. Your down stay is 3 to 5 minutes. When Brandy returns back to her, she walks all the way around her She should maintain that down stay until Brandy gets back to her shoulders and stops. She gives her a little pat for praise, and we will demonstrate that down from a heel again for you. And Brandy's talking to her to keep her focused, and that's okay. You may not need to do that. And when she gets hard-headed, you saw that little tug on that collar as a reminder. And she can be a little bit stubborn, and it's not because she doesn't know it. And this time Brandy will call her out of that down. And as you get more familiar with practicing with them, you can mix up your commands and have fun with them, because that's what it's for, and you're going to also incorporate them into your everyday living situations. Now, the last command that we're going to demonstrate for you is her down from a distance. So with her seated at your left, you leave her in the sit stay. You turn to face her. You're going to use your right hand to give the command and drop her into a down from a distance, and you give her the stay with the right hand like you're bowling. Now, we have demonstrated for you all of Chloe's formal on-leash obedience commands. She's done a great job, and they have both been pleasures to have here at school. We'll be back with little brother and show you what his version of all of the same commands. And we want to thank you for choosing Nora's Dog Training Company.